With Borderlands news slowing down for now and community discussion ramping up, there is a lot of negativity surrounding the new entry into the series, with people going so far as to say confidently that the game will be bad. And despite what the echo chamber of the YouTube comment section might have you believe, there are actually a ton of reasons to be excited for Borderlands 4. Hey Vault Hunters, I'm Constant Canadian, and this is why I'm excited for Borderlands 4, and why you should be too. If you enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe as it really helps out the channel, and if you really enjoy it, consider joining the membership program. 99 cents a month gets you a shoutout at the end of my videos, as well as these cute emotes and awesome sub badges. And for $4.99 a month, you get all that, plus early access to most of my videos. Starting off with the most impossible to disagree with, the insane amount of quality of life features that will come with the new game. Every new Borderlands game that has been released has come out with an immense amount of huge, new quality of life features, which is just a feature that made the game easier to play. Even going back to the jump from Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 2, we got a visual inventory, which despite its performance issues, I much prefer to the text menus from the original. We got the ability to move while in fight for your life mode, which was huge. We got an actual minimap instead of just a compass, and many more small changes like that just make the game easier to play through. Going from Borderlands 2 to the pre-sequel, there were less notable quality of life changes, the most obvious one being the ability to sell all non-favorited items with a single button press in a vendor. But the biggest jump for quality of life in the series has been going from Borderlands the pre-sequel to Borderlands 3. Every supply on the ground now auto picks up, be it money, iridium, ammo, quest objectives. The legendary loot has a star on the minimap to mark its position. And Borderlands 3 also added the ability to buy all ammo with a single button press without even going into the vendor menu. In addition to the quality of life upgrades we got with Borderlands 3, there was also a pretty big upgrade in movement mechanics. We got mantling, which finally allowed us to move vertically without having to learn grenade jumps, which is huge. Sliding, which with the right equipment allows you to move around the map way faster and easier. And slamming, which is mostly useless in the grand scheme of things, but still a fun mechanic to mess around with. This leads us into Borderlands 4, where we are already confirmed to be getting grappling hooks from the trailer, and from an interview with GameStar Talks, a German gaming news company, and Randy Pitchford, we also know that we will be getting double jumps, as well as the ability to air dash. These two things alone could take the game to a whole new level movement-wise. Another huge quality of life change coming in this game, confirmed by that same interview, is that we will now be able to spawn cars from anywhere. I don't know about you, but walking back to a catch-a-ride after getting my car frozen and then blown up by angry bandits was always so annoying. So it's great to see that we'll finally be able to spawn them from anywhere. The difference going from Borderlands 3 to Borderlands 4 in terms of quality of life and movement is going to be the biggest in the series, and I am so ready for it. Another big reason for us to be excited for this new entry into the series is the timing of its development. Let me explain. Borderlands 4 began development shortly before Borderlands 3 launched, which means that on top of our criticisms of Borderlands 3's launch getting changes made to that game, there's also a high likelihood that our complaints surrounding Borderlands 3's launch also helped shape Borderlands 4 significantly. Now, there's nothing to confirm this obviously. It's possible the Borderlands 4 devs weren't taking any notes about the launch of Borderlands 3, but one of the biggest complaints regarding Borderlands 3's launch was the lack of a raid boss in the base game. We had Terramorphous and Vermivorous in Borderlands 2's endgame, and even the pre-sequel had the invincible form of the Sentinel. But in Borderlands 3, nothing. And while we did eventually get a raid boss in Borderlands 3, it took a while and people were still pretty upset that it wasn't there from the beginning, especially considering the huge amount of potential entrances to raid boss arenas. Fast forward now to Borderlands 4, and Epic NNG, a Borderlands content creator, actually found something pretty interesting. One of the photos uploaded to the Borderlands website after the Game Awards, where we got our first official trailer, specifically this one here, had the file name Ripper Raid Day when you downloaded it. What makes this even stranger though is the fact that after Epic NNG made this fact public, Gearbox went and changed the name of that file to Borderlands 4 TGAS Screen 5 1920 by 1080, almost as if they're trying to cover up their tracks. This not only makes me think that we will have a raid on day 1 of Borderlands 4, whether it's going to be a standalone raid boss or a takedown style raid, it also makes me think that Borderlands 4 is going to be built off of the criticisms of Borderlands 3, which could be absolutely huge for the game, as some of the biggest complaints from the launch of Borderlands 3 are core aspects of the franchise for some people, myself included, like raid bosses and dedicated drops. It's very likely at this point that Borderlands 3's launch flopped so that Borderlands 4's could fly higher than any other game in the series, and that makes me incredibly excited to play it. The story and writing of Borderlands 3 is one of its biggest points of contention to this day, with a lot of the jokes falling flat and the overall pacing of the story just feeling very off for a lot of people. A very loud portion of people are concerned that the writing of Borderlands 4 will suffer as well, as both Borderlands 3 and Borderlands 4 have the same lead writer. However, there's a little bit more to it than that. Borderlands 3's initial lead writer left about a year and a half into the development of the game, at which point Sam Winkler and Danny Homan, staff writers at the time, had to step up and take charge of the semi-finished project that the previous writer left behind. This is a large part of the reason, at least from what I can tell, that the story was so weirdly paced and why a lot of the time, plot points seem to get set up just to be never brought up again. Now, I'm not going to pretend I know the first thing about game development or the process of creating a story to having a fully completed scene, but having a writer leave a year and a half into the production of a project could 100% affect the overall quality of that project. If we fast forward to 2022 and take a look at Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, we can see that the story massively improved over Borderlands 3, at least in my opinion. The jokes are a lot less dated, the pacing is way better, and the characters actually feel like they have some depth to them. Even the DLCs for Borderlands 3 were way better written than the main campaign. And Sam Winkler had a writing credit for 3 of the DLCs and a lead writing credit for DLC 2, Guns, Love, and Tentacles, as well as a lead writing credit for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So he has certainly proven multiple times that he is capable of writing a good story with good characters, which is why I'm actually excited to play through this new story that Borderlands 4 brings to the table, especially considering how awesome some of the new characters look, like Queen Callus and the Timekeeper. Another reason I'm very hopeful for Borderlands 4's story is that Sam Winkler, now narrative director at Gearbox, tweeted that he did not like Borderlands 3's overabundance of toilet humor, and even outright confirmed that we would not have a Hawk 2A gun or the word skibbity anywhere in the game, which I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you for that. It also just seems, based on what little trailer we have seen, that this game might be taking a more serious approach to the main storyline, which I feel the franchise really needed. Don't get me wrong, the franchise should still have quirky, goofy side missions and references, and the occasional joke during the main story, but playing through the main story of this game shouldn't feel like sitting through your friend's amateur stand-up comedy routine. This is something that Borderlands 2 did very well, was taking the story actually seriously, so it felt like something was actually at stake. And if Borderlands 4 is going to continue that theme, then I'm all for it. The final big reason we should all be excited for this game is the fact that we are getting 4 new Vault Hunters, all with their own new skill trees and their own new builds. If we're being entirely honest here, that's what this game is about for a vast majority of people. Having a bunch of new skill trees, builds, and mechanics to play around with is going to be so much fun. We haven't really seen much of these characters yet, though even from what we have seen, I'm very excited. The operative looking Vault Hunter's action skill looks like it could actually be a true melee action skill, which we haven't had since Borderlands 2. The Viking dude just looks tanky as hell, and his action skill seems pretty open-ended, which could be awesome. And of course, I'm always excited to play around with more Siren powers. Having 12 or even 16 more skill trees to play around with will be super awesome, and I am super excited for when this game releases and I can finally try them out. At the end of the day, we really don't know too much about this new release. Based on the things we have seen or heard though, I'm very excited for Borderlands 4. What about you? Are you excited for Borderlands 4's launch? Worried? Ambivalent? Hopefully optimistic? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.